The stars play a significant role in unfolding the lore of Elden Ring. However, the complexity and detailedness of the game can certainly be overwhelming. It can be challenging to know where to begin when lore hunting. In today's video, I want to present a piece of evidence that I think is super important to gaining insight into the mysteries of Elden Ring. Today, I will chat about Lusat and his sorcery, Stars of Ruin. For context, Lusat's home is located in Celia, town of sorcery. These days, the Scarlet Rot engulfs much of its sky in its architecture. Celia is inhabited with marionette soldiers, sorcerers, and Nox people. It is here that a plethora of ancient history and wisdom reside. A short distance west of this town, we find Lusat locked and sealed away deep inside of a cave. The incarceration of Lusat was committed by the Roya Lucarian Academy, an establishment he once taught and resided in. However, he was considered to be a heretic by the powers within, and was therefore isolated and hidden away from the world. If you obtain a sealbreaker, you can enter the dark chamber that he resides in. You can interact with him, and he will hand you a legendary sorcery entitled Stars of Ruin. The description of that reads as follows: legendary sorcery devised by Lusat. Fires 12 dark shooting stars that pursue the target. When Lusat glimpsed into the primeval current, he beheld the final moments of a great star cluster, and upon seeing it, he was broken too. Let's focus on the part of the description that addresses the great star cluster by first understanding what a star cluster is. There are two basic forms of star clusters, a global and an open star cluster. A global star cluster is a group of stars, generally older in age, of tens of thousands of stars ranging to millions of stars. An open star cluster is a much smaller group of stars consisting of only 10 stars ranging to approximately 100 stars. Next, let's identify what makes a star cluster great, considering the sorcery description states Lusat saw a great star cluster. Upon researching what a great star cluster was, not much info presented itself. However, I interpreted the meaning of great star cluster to mean significant, famous, and/or meaningful in some relative capacity. The star cluster that fit this description the most was called the Pleiades. The Pleiades was an open star cluster located 440 light-years from Earth. The stars were bright blue, could be seen with the naked eye, and had a long history of folklore and mythology associated with them. After a few hours of reading, I recognized potential information and ideas that overlapped with Elden Ring's lore. Before I provide comparison examples, here is a brief overview of the Pleiades. The Pleiades is a star cluster that is comprised of often 6 visible stars with an additional 7th star faintly glowing. How many stars a person sees depends on viewing conditions. This group of stars is also known as the Seven Sisters. These stars are considered to be female/feminine divine goddesses or nymphs in various cultures around the world. For example, Greek and Aboriginal mythology depict the Pleiades' 7 stars as ocean/sea nymphs, water girls, and ice maidens. Their relationship with water is multi-layered and multifaceted. There are also numerous connections of the Pleiades being associated with weather, agriculture, navigation, and sailing. Now that context has been provided, let me provide examples of in-game lore that relate to the Pleiades. Ranni is a witch who is a master and scholar of the stars and the moon. She often tells us that her fate lay within these stars. We also know that her sorceries and the academy she participated in studied the cosmos because sorcery itself is the study of the stars and the life therein. Ranni is also an Empyrean, a defined entity in the Elden Ring world. Her association with water, too, is multi-layered and complex. Her relationship with the Eternal Cities and the rivers they inhabit are of close relation to her. During her quest, for example, she requests that we visit these cities for her, and we meet her also at the base of the Ainsel River for a conversation. Furthermore, Ranni's mentor Rena, also known as the Snowy Crone, is similarly associated with water, ice, and divinity. Rena's name translates to melt, and further affirms her association to water and ice. Her rise also contains a portal leading you to the base of the Ainsel River, once again affirming her symbolic and metaphysical connection to the waters. Rani and Rena's rises are also located in the Three Sisters map location. Perhaps this is a reference to the Seven Sisters motif of the Pleiades. Another example of an in-game connection to the Pleiades is the Stars of Ruin item design. The item design of Stars of Ruin depicts only 7 stars despite stating it fires 12 in the description. Perhaps this is symbolic of the Pleiades' 7 sisters, who are a part of the open star cluster that contains hundreds of stars in total. Another in-game example and connection is the Pleiades have a sibling star cluster called Haze. Historically, past civilizations and people considered the Pleiades and Haze to herald spring showers. It is said the Haze weep for their deceased brother and were nicknamed the Weeping Haze. Their tears rained upon the earth in the form of rain, and people often awaited for them. In the game of Elden Ring, a map location entitled Weeping Peninsula occupies the southern terrain. This location is often exposed to heavy rainfall as well. Perhaps the Haze and the Pleiades are responsible. Another connection is the Pleiades is located in the Taurus constellation. In fact, it forms the Taurus constellation along with its sibling star cluster, the Haze. The meteor that crashes into the lands between manifests itself as a bull with scorpion-like features, and may be an anthropomorphic representation of the Pleiades/Haze Taurus constellation. Further support for this hypothesis refers to the bull's lonesome large eye on its dome. Within the actual Taurus constellation, the brightest star, Aldebaran, shines brighter than any other star inside of that constellation. Famously and historically, this star is called the Eye of the Bull. There are more considerations and speculations I can make. However, all of the correlations made may just be ultimately a coincidence. But then I found a piece of evidence that I found to be significant. I wonder if you will too. If you play Elden Ring in Portugal, you may have noticed slight differences in the translation to Portuguese. Some sorcery names are a tad different as well.